Hello, this is video feedback for Megan Funk. Hi Megan, I'm Dr. Flint. It's nice to meet you via the camera here. You turned in a video in week 2 talking about why sustainability is important for every global citizen to consider. As a part of that, you were assigned to address your audience, the 5 people you interviewed in week 1 regarding their thoughts on sustainability. So now I'm going to go ahead and dive into some of the critiques that I have for you regarding that video in the hopes that from here on out we can continue to improve and learn more about effective communication with the remainder of our semester. So starting out, I would say watch ums. You can hear me kind of say a little bit or and it can become a bit distracting and take away from the point in general. And so I would encourage you, if you catch yourself doing that a few times, to take a deep breath instead, or to pause for just a brief second so that you can collect your thoughts again. Otherwise, in general, you introduced yourself well and you outlined the topic well also. I think outlining the topic at the beginning of a speech is very important to do. It guides your audience on what they can expect from you in the time that they have with you. So well done there. You also used a statistic that helped to emphasize your point. It started off by saying by 2050, and then I apologize, my notes here don't give me more than that, but it was a great statistic, and I said it was really impactful for communication right at that moment. It was well delivered and perfectly timed within the sequence of what you were saying. You also used some great examples about how wasteful we can be. And I think that that's important. It does convict someone to really start to examine themselves and what they are doing and how they can change that if they so desire. I say here in my notes, and I agree, that your tone of voice is very great for presentation. You're very clear and quite articulate. It doesn't sound robotic, which is so important. Robots put humans to sleep, let's be honest. And so I appreciated that you had a great tone of voice and an overall great presentation. You also talked about the longevity piece of sustainability, which I think is so important for people to understand. It goes sort of unrecognized in this whole conversation around sustainability, but it is quite an important piece and quite possibly the one reason I'm also a part of the conversation around sustainability. So what I mean by longevity is longevity in career, longevity in life in general, and that's important especially in my discipline within psychology because in general there's a high burnout rate with human services professions. Most folks will choose a different line of work after about 5 years total. See, there I go using a statistic. But that is true. And so when talking about sustainable lifestyles, sustainable careers, that's a big piece of the overall conversation, and I'm glad that you brought up some bits and pieces of that. In fact, I would say do more of that. How can I make an impact when I'm no longer there? I like that you brought that up. In fact, I loved that you brought that up. That's what you're thinking about when you think about sustainability, making an impact when you are no longer there, whether it be at your job right now or just the environmental friendliness in general. So I again appreciate that about you. You talk about retaining employees because you are in the business realm and how important that is. When you find a good employee, you want to keep them. You want to sustain their career, so to speak. And so I did appreciate that you brought that up. And it does bring a unique perspective to our class in general to have someone who is in the business domain. So I'm glad that you're in this class. Now I'm going to summarize here and encourage you to engage your audience just a little bit more by naming them in your presentation. So Rod, Luke, Amanda, Lee, and Andy were thanked at the beginning and then maybe forgotten after that. And so a way to engage them might be to thank Rod for his military service and acknowledge that he probably has seen a lot of things across the globe that show better sustainable practices and not so great ones. Also, Luke, within schoolwork, is there a way that he can really just engage his own educational community on sustainable practices. Also acknowledging that Lee has had a 10-year career. When speaking about longevity and sustainability within one's profession, that might be something to highlight, especially in this day and age where turnover is such a big issue and concern, as I'm sure you are familiar with. So Megan, in general, great job. As you can see on D2L, I've already posted your score of 20 out of 20, and that's because this first go round at these videos was meant to be a practice. So if I were grading this according to the rubric, you would have received 5 out of 5 for timeliness. You stayed within the 5-minute time frame. A 5 out of 10 for addressing the group and the individual dynamics. That could stand a little bit of improvement, in particular with addressing the group dynamics. How would these folks interact with each other if they were in a room together? And then with developing your argument, I would have given you a 4 out of 5 on that one. So keeping those things in mind, I hope that you take this feedback well into the future, and I look forward to more video projects from you, Megan. Nice job. Great to meet you again. Bye.